ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਮਿਸਟਰ ਹੁਸੈਨ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਟੂਡੀਓਜ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਹਨ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਹੋਏਗੀ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਫਿਰ ਇੱਕ ਹੋਰ ਮੀਟਿੰਗ 'ਤੇ ਨਨੈਮੋ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੈ। Minister, welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's really good to be back at Red FM.
Thank you very much for giving us time and coming in the studio.
Thank you.
Tell us about the new announcement that you made yesterday that we understand lottery system is abolished and you're putting up a new system.
We're putting, so part of the reason why we are seeing success in the immigration system is because we listen very closely to what Canadians want and we get their feedback, and if we have to make adjustments, we do that. We heard from Canadians from coast to coast to coast that they wanted the lottery system to be changed. I believe that the lottery system was an improvement over the unfair system that we took over from the Conservatives. That system really was more beneficial for people who had more money to spend on agents and people who lived closer to the processing center. So it was an unfair system. We changed it with the random selection system, otherwise known as the lottery system. But even that, Canadians wanted us to move forward with further changes, and that's what I announced yesterday. I announced a new system where you don't have to pay agents. You won't get special treatment if you live closer to the processing center. You won't be discriminated against if you live farther from the processing center. Basically, what you'll do is you'll beginning of the year, everyone will sit on their computer and apply.
So how would it know, like how people will know that their application they applied first is processed first?
Well, we will basically just take first of all, before I answer that question, we also increased the number of spaces. It's important to note that.
Yeah.
When we came into office, the previous government had only 5,000 spaces per year for parents and grandparents.
You doubled it.
We went from 5,000 to 10,000. And now we're doubling it again to 20,000 next year. That's a big, big jump.
Is it 20,500?
No, it's 20,000.
Oh, is it 20,000?
It's 20,000, and if we need to increase it, we will. But for next year, the target is 20,000. I'll tell you why that's important. Parents want to simply reunite with their children and their grandchildren. They want to spend time together. And when they do that, when we join them together, you have more emotional support for them, but there's also more financial support. Because what happens is when parents and grandparents come, they help out with the household, they help with childcare, they free up other members of the family to study or work. That improves our economy. It improves our social cohesion. It adds to our community strength. And that is why we increased the number from 5,000 to 20,000. So we've increased the spaces 4 times. We've quadrupled the number. So I believe that is a promise that we've kept to Canadians, and we'll continue to listen to them.
Before you came in, I was talking to our listeners then. The main thing that they were worried about, that the transparency, that how would they know that their application, which they applied first, they'll be processed first, and they are in a queue, it'll be in an order.
First of all, we will simply open the system and take the first 20,000 people who apply. By the way, when we increased it to 10,000 this year, we got a lot of applications, but many of them were duplicates. Some were people who got the spot as an interest to sponsor, but when we then invited them to apply, they didn't meet the requirements. So the first stage is to get the spot, meaning file an interest to sponsor form. But what we're trying to do also to eliminate that problem is between now and next year, in the fall, by the fall, we're trying to make the necessary changes in the application system so that when people are ready to apply for the interest to sponsor form, before they do that, they're well informed on what the requirements are, so that we get as much as possible people who can actually sponsor parents.
Second question was coming, that how would you protect the website, because it's online? They're thinking this is going to crash or somebody's going to hijack it.
I've heard that, and between now and January 1st, 2019, that's the work we have to do. I made the announcement. Now we have to do the work to improve the application system, including strengthening the website so that it can handle that many applications.
So you will make sure the website is not jammed.
That's the that we don't want that to happen. We want us to be able to take the first 20,000 people. And by the way, when we take the first 20,000 interest to sponsor forms, and then the first 20,000, and then we invite them to now sponsor, some of those people will inevitably not be qualified. So what we'll do is we'll then open it up more, which is what we did this year. So for example, last year is a good example. When we called out the first group, we had a lot of duplicates. We had people who couldn't qualify. So we had to do another round and another round.
So then how is it different than the lottery system if you're taking it out of the pool?
It's not a lottery system in the sense that it's first in. So we take the first 20,000 and then we see who's
the
eligible.
First 20,000 will be taken number 1, number 2.
Yeah.
Comes today, afternoon, evening time.
Correct.
So that's how you'll take it?
Yeah. It's first in, first served.
How would the public know that you're taking it in an order?
We have mechanisms, internal mechanisms to ensure fairness. We have, as you know, we are bound by our standards to treat everyone equally. I mean, we respect the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. We're not going to. We have mechanisms in place to keep the integrity of the system to make sure that everyone is treated fairly.
So, third question is that the income.
Yes.
Now they qualify for the 3 years income.
Yes.
Would it be 1 year or it still will remain 3 years?
It will be 3 years, but again, we are always open to changes. If Canadians feel that we should change that system to better reflect their realities, I'm open, and that's why I travel the country. Today I'm here. Tomorrow I'll be in Nanaimo, and after that, going back to Ontario.
But at this time, it'll be 3 years.
The requirements remain the same. If Canadians feel that it should be changed, they'll give us the feedback, and we'll look at it and make the changes, just like we made the change to the lottery system. The key point here, sir, is that we are running our immigration system based on the feedback of Canadians. The Global Skills Strategy came directly from employers. It's a program that came from them. And 10,000 very highly talented people have come in through the Global Skills Strategy. We just launched it in June last year. That program came from employers who told us, look, we need to get talent here fast, and we're losing out that talent to other countries, so we need them to get to Canada.
About the income qualification, I can tell you right now,
yes,
people want it to be 1 year only because we've been talking to them almost every week or 10 days.
Okay.
They want that the income qualification.
Is there a particular reason why they want
Because they say, why punish them for 3 years? They have to kind of pay more taxes. Their actual income is their second job, third job, in order to increase their income, in order to qualify for that.
I see. Well, that's good feedback. I wasn't aware of that.
And then they have less time for their children.
Okay.
Fair
point.
Yeah. Any other thing that's newer in this new system? First come, first serve.
We will be announcing the changes to the application system and the improvements that we have to make to the infrastructure and all that. I'll be making further details. I'll be providing further details to you and Canadians in the fall.
And also, would there be a certain time period, like from, let's say, January 1st to 15th, you can apply only?
No. We will basically just keep it open until we get the first 20,000 people.
Oh, I see.
Once we get 20,000, it's capped at 20,000, which I think is a good number because it's 4 times what the Conservatives brought.
A couple other things I want to talk to you is,
yes.
One is about used to be called LMO. Now we call it LMIA.
Yes.
Are you aware that these LMIAs are being sold for till $50,000? Employers and some agents are mixed up in this kind of business. It's a business now. Are you aware of that?
I am aware of one incident in which actually it was a news report on CBC television, and they reported on an example of this issue. And of course, our officials are aware of this as well. You have to understand that we take immigration fraud or any fraud that impacts our government services very seriously.
We fully understand that you are prepared to take some abuse of the system.
No.
This is so widespread now. People are buying 30, 40, 50,000 sometimes. So employers are selling it. Agents are the middle people sometimes in there. And then you're making money out of it.
That's unacceptable. We take that kind of attack on the integrity of our system very seriously. If you are aware of particular incidents, I would encourage you to contact our department, but also the Department of Labor and Workforce Development, because of course LMIs are administered by come under the jurisdiction of ESDC, the Employment and Labor Ministry.
Instead of that, cannot you develop a system in such a way that it cannot be sold, or you can have some kind of prevention program, something on that LMIA that once it should be given to that particular person.
As I said, our officials are aware of this. We take this issue and similar issues of immigration fraud and labor market fraud very seriously. If there's specific proposals that you have in terms of what you just alluded to, I'm happy to receive them and pass them on to my colleague.
And Minister, about the international students here,
yes.
Since you live in Ontario, in Toronto area, in Brampton, some violent incidents has happened. You're fully aware of. Are you going to increase the number of international students, or are they going to decline as a result of these incidents? Are you being impacted? Your policy will kind of be changed, or what are you thinking about it?
So I'll say two things about this issue. Number one, whenever we're talking about issues such as this one, we have to be guided by the evidence. And we have to make sure that that evidence is clear to what we're referring to. I have yet to see very clear and conclusive evidence that international students are less law-abiding than the general population in the GTA.
And you haven't seen it so far?
Well, I've heard of anecdotal evidence, but I haven't seen conclusive evidence that international students are any less law-abiding than other people. Number one. Number two, just like we don't appreciate when the actions of one or few individuals are used to tarnish an entire community, we have to be careful to make sure that even if it's the case that one or two international students have trouble with the law, that doesn't impact our view of all international students. International students make a significant contribution to our economy, $11.6 billion every year. They contribute more to Canadian economy than softwood lumber. Wow. A lot of people don't know that. Now, they also contribute because they bring different perspectives into the classroom. They bring their own background. They share their experiences. And afterwards, a lot of them stay and fill our unfilled jobs and help us with skills and talents and labor market shortages. Now, if a few international students are being reported to be outside of the law, that doesn't mean that all international students are suddenly now to be stereotyped, right? So in my humble opinion, I would ask you and other thought leaders and media personalities to join me in being a little bit more sensitive, especially since you and I have grown up in communities that have not been part of the majority community, where we're very sensitive to when a member of our community does something wrong, but then the entire community is blamed. We always condemn that.
No, I understand.
So in return, we can't do the same thing to international students. So we have to be careful. At the same time, we're very cognizant, and our priority is community safety. I met the members of parliament from Brampton, my caucus colleagues, and we discussed this issue. And I know that they are leading on this issue by engaging the university, by engaging the municipalities, by engaging the police board. This is a complex issue. It's not it's not a single issue. And by the way, I must re-emphasize, the vast majority of international students are law-abiding. They contribute to Canada, and we should be very careful about blaming the actions of a few people.
Thank you. And also, is there any policy change towards the single parents living abroad when under the family reunification?
Yes, absolutely. It's not single, but for the dependents. The dependents, we changed that rule. So under the Conservatives brought down the age of dependency. And so less children were able to reunite with their families here. We raised that age limit to 22. So that means if you have a child who's 21 or 22 or 20, you can sponsor them and reunite with them. That's really important. And we don't want to keep families apart.
One more important thing I want to bring it to your notice is that the previous Conservative government, they made some change into the Immigration Act that any new parent coming in this country under reunification cannot claim any pension for 20 years. Are you aware of that?
No, I'm not aware of that. I know that sponsored parents are not supposed to claim, are not supposed to be on social welfare or anything like that. Yeah. They're supposed to be supported by the sponsors who undertook to sponsor them.
Because I was told that.
But I'm not aware of the
Are you aware of that?
There is not the pension issue. I'm not aware of that. I'm just aware of the prohibition against
the welfare.
Sponsored parents and grandparents accessing social assistance.
And my last question is that the asylum seekers coming from Quebec, the 30,000 CBC says approximately, is it becoming a crisis for you?
It was never a crisis. That's a word that's used by the Conservatives because they want to use this issue for political purposes. They want to steer fear and division. They want to start to divide communities against each other. The fact of the matter is, we are managing this situation. It's not a crisis, it's a challenge. But it's also a challenge to our ability to enforce our own laws, to make sure that our laws are respected, and to make sure that we also keep Canada's commitment to our international obligations. So we have to do both. And how are we doing that? Every single asylum seeker who comes across the border is checked, goes through very rigorous security screening. But at the same time, when someone claims asylum, we have to give them a hearing. That doesn't mean that they get a free ticket to Canada. If they present any threat to Canadian society, they don't even get to make a claim. They're removed immediately. If they get to make a claim and they fail in that claim, they're removed. If they make a claim and they have a legitimate refugee case, then they get to stay. And that's our law. And that has always been our law in conservative and liberal governments. Under Prime Minister Harper's watch, 30,000 asylum seekers came in 2008.
Oh, I see.
So this issue is not a recent issue. We've always received asylum seekers in this country. What has changed is the Conservative Party. By the way, I am old enough to remember when the Conservative Party was about low taxes and fighting the deficit and helping small business and so on. Now the Conservative Party is about stirring fear and division and setting communities against each other and questioning multiculturalism, questioning diversity. That's all they have left. They're morally bankrupt. So what the issue is that asylum seekers are a reality for many countries. What we have to do is make sure that we obey the law, we make sure everyone is processed, but at the same time, we have to give, when someone lands on our soil and claims asylum, we have to give them at least a fair hearing. And by the way, I must say this. Please give me an extra 10 seconds. We have to learn from our history. We cannot repeat our history. Last year, the Prime Minister of Canada stood in the House of Commons and apologized for the Komagata Maru.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah, I was there.
Okay. We have a history in this country where those people were sent back to their deaths. We have a history in 1939 where there's a ship called the St. Louis, MS St. Louis, where Jewish refugees came to Canada and we rejected them. You know what happened to them? They went back to Europe. They were sent back to Europe and many of them were killed in the Holocaust. So we have not always been a welcoming country, but we've learned from those mistakes.
You don't want to make those mistakes again.
But we cannot make those mistakes again. But I think there's an extra responsibility for me and you because we come from communities that have experienced stereotyping, that have experienced exclusion in certain stages, that sometimes we've felt that we need to do more work to be accepted in Canada. So we can't be the same people who then turn around and question the importance of providing asylum to people who seek protection. Because we can't, on one hand, say that, we should atone for the mistakes and learn from the mistakes of the Komagatu era and then repeat them now.
No, I understand.
So we can have a debate about asylum. We can engage in discussions. We can be criticized as the government. That's not a problem. The problem is when this issue is now used to stoke fear and division. The Conservatives were getting up in the House of Commons saying 400 are crossing every day. It's not. The average is about 40 to 50. So that's fear. They're promoting fear and division. They're pretending that this is something that has never occurred in Canadian history.
Okay, Minister, before I let you go, the people who are waiting 6 to 7 years for reunification of their parents, would somehow they will be helped with this new system?
Yes. So we brought by the way, one of the things that the Conservatives are doing to really stoke fear and division is they're saying that asylum seekers are taking the place of parents and grandparents and all that. No. And it's completely false. It's a pack of lies. But but this is the concern. I know that you know that's not true. But that's not the point. The point is they're knowingly misleading people. They know it's not true. But by knowingly doing that, so if they're knowingly misleading people and they know that there's no queue jumping, what could be the only other motivation? Is to spread fear and division.
So people who are waiting,
so we have brought
6,
the
7
backlog.
years.
Yeah, we have brought the backlog down from 167,000 under the Conservatives to 26,000. So we've brought it down by 84%. Now, when backlogs come down, it enables our immigration officers, instead of working to clear back cases from years ago, to work on new applications. So it speeds up the process. And we want to bring down that processing time and eliminate the backlog to zero.
So it's not that people who are waiting for 6, 7 years under the lottery system or whatever.
No, it's the old cases from the Conservatives which we're clearing. And we've cleared 84% of those cases. We just need to finish the remaining 16%.
But those applications would not come into the consideration for this $20,000.
No, we have a space. I mean, we will use some of that to clear the backlog, but we also have some internal space that we can also use to clear backlogs, which we have done in many different immigration streams.
Minister, thank you very much. Really appreciate your time. I know you have other meetings.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you again.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਅਹਿਮਦ ਹੁਸੈਨ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਦੱਸੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ 'ਚ ਦੱਸ ਦਿਆਂ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਤਾਂ ਗੱਲ ਇਹ ਦੱਸੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਲਾਟਰੀ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਬੰਦ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਉਹਦੀ ਥਾਂ 'ਤੇ ਫਸਟ ਕਮ ਫਸਟ ਸਰਵ ਦਾ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤਾ। ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕੰਸਰਨ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸੀ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਵੈੱਬਸਾਈਟ 'ਤੇ ਅਪਲਾਈ ਹੋਣਾ, ਵੈੱਬਸਾਈਟ ਪਲੱਗ ਹੋ ਜਾਏਗਾ, ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਹੁਣ ਤੋਂ ਹੀ ਤਿਆਰੀ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਵੈੱਬਸਾਈਟ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹਾ ਬਣਾ ਦਾਂਗੇ ਪਲੱਗ ਨਾ ਹੋਵੇ। ਦੂਸਰਾ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਹਾਈਜੈਕ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ, ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਪ੍ਰਬੰਧ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਹਾਈਜੈਕ ਨਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾ ਸਕੇ। ਤੀਜੀ ਗੱਲ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਇਸ ਦੀ ਪਾਰਦਰਸ਼ੀ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਹੋਏਗਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਐਪਲੀਕੇਸ਼ਨਾਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਆ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਹੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਸੈਸ ਹੋਣ ਅਤੇ ਇਹ ਗੜਬੜ ਨਾ ਹੋਵੇ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਰਡਰ 'ਚੋਂ ਆ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਉਸੇ ਆਰਡਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪ੍ਰੋਸੈਸ ਹੋਣਗੀਆਂ। ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਯੈਸ ਉਸੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਸੈਸ 'ਚ ਆਰਡਰ ਹੋਣਗੀਆਂ, ਅਸੀਂ ਉਸ ਵੈੱਬਸਾਈਟ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਉਸ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੀਆਂ ਤਬਦੀਲੀਆਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਸ ਆਰਡਰ 'ਚ ਐਪਲੀਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਆ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਉਸੇ ਇੰਟੈਗਰਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਹ ਉਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਸੈਸ ਹੋਣਗੀਆਂ, ਅਸੀਂ ਯਕੀਨੀ ਬਣਾਵਾਂਗੇ। ਅਤੇ ਬਾਕੀ ਇਨਕਮ ਬਾਰੇ ਸਵਾਲ ਸੀ, ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਹੁਣ ਲਾਟਰੀ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਦੇ ਅਧੀਨ 3 ਸਾਲ ਦੀ ਇਨਕਮ ਕੰਸੀਡਰ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਸੀ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਪੇਰੈਂਟਸ ਨੂੰ ਸਪੋਂਸਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ। ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਵੀ ਇਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਕੋਈ ਤਬਦੀਲੀ ਨਹੀਂ। ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਹੁਣ 1 ਸਾਲ ਦੀ ਹੋਏਗੀ, ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਇਹ 3 ਸਾਲ ਦੀ ਹੀ ਰਹੇਗੀ। ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਸੀ, ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਮੈਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਸੁਣ ਰਿਹਾ ਲੇਕਿਨ ਮੈਜੋਰਿਟੀ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਇੱਥੇ ਕੰਟਰੀ ਦੀ ਕੰਟਰੀਬਿਊਸ਼ਨ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ, ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਚੰਗਾ ਰੋਲ ਅਦਾ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ। ਥੋੜ੍ਹੇ ਜਿਹੇ ਲੋਕ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਜਿੰਨੀ ਦੇਰ ਤੱਕ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਕਨਕਲੂਸਿਵ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੀ ਐਵੀਡੈਂਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇਹ ਸਾਬਤ ਕਰ ਸਕੇ ਕਿ ਇੱਥੇ ਰਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਜੰਮੇ ਹੋਏ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨਾਲੋਂ ਉਹ ਵੱਧ ਕ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਉਨੀ ਦੇਰ ਤੱਕ ਮੈਂ ਕੋਈ ਐਕਸ਼ਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੈਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਵਾਪਸ ਭੇਜਣ ਬਾਰੇ ਜਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਕਟੌਤੀ ਕਰਨ ਬਾਰੇ ਕੁਛ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਜਿੰਨੀ ਦੇਰ ਤੱਕ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਇਹ ਐਵੀਡੈਂਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲਦੀ, ਇਹ ਸਬੂਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਕਿ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਦੇ ਜੰਮੇ ਹੋਏ ਜਾਂ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਦੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਪੱਕੇ ਰਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨਾਲੋਂ ਉਹ ਵੱਧ ਕ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਅਤੇ ਔਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਬਹੁਤ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਿੰਨੀ ਸਾਫਟਵੁੱਡ ਲੰਬਰ 'ਚੋਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਆਮਦਨ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀ, ਲੱਕੜੀ ਦੇ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸ 'ਚੋਂ ਜਿੰਨੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਆਮਦਨ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਧ ਆਮਦਨ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟਸ ਤੋਂ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਇਕਨੋਮਿਕਲੀ। ਹੋਰ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ LMO ਬਾਰੇ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਸੀ, ਜਿਹਨੂੰ LMIA ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਹੁਣ, ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਕਿ $50,000 ਤੱਕ ਦੇ ਵਿਕ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਕੇਸ ਦਾ ਹੀ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ, ਇੱਕ ਕੇਸ 'ਚ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਿਆ ਸੀ। ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਸੀ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਆਮ ਗੱਲ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਹੈ, LMO ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਵਿਕ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, LMIA ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਵਿਕ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹਾ ਪ੍ਰਬੰਧ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਵਿਕ ਨਾ ਸਕੇ ਅੱਗੋਂ, ਜਾਂ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਕੋਈ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਰਿਸਟ੍ਰਿਕਸ਼ਨ ਲਾਈ ਜਾ ਸਕੇ। ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਵੀ ਹਾਲੇ ਤੱਕ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਕੁ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ ਇੱਕ ਅੱਧਾ ਹੀ ਕੋਈ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ, ਪਰ ਜੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗ ਗਿਆ ਜਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਹੋਰ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੇ ਦੱਸ ਦਿੱਤਾ, ਮੈਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੋਕ ਦੱਸਣ ਕਿ ਯੈਸ ਇਹਦਾ ਤਜਾਰਤ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, ਇਹਦਾ ਵਪਾਰ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ, ਫਿਰ ਡੈਫੀਨੇਟਲੀ ਮੈਂ ਕੋਈ ਪ੍ਰਬੰਧ ਕਰਾਂਗਾ। ਬਾਕੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿਊਬੈਕ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ 30,000 ਦੇ ਕਰੀਬ ਉਹ ਆ ਗਏ ਨੇ ਜ਼ਾਇਲਮ ਸੀਕਰਸ, ਵੀ ਉਹ ਇੱਕ ਸੰਕਟ ਬਣ ਚੁੱਕਾ ਹੈ। ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ, ਇਹ ਕੰਜ਼ਰਵੇਟਿਵ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਵਾਲੇ ਵਧਾ ਚੜ੍ਹਾ ਕੇ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਔਰ ਉਹ ਫੀਅਰ ਪੈਦਾ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਡਿਵੀਜ਼ਨ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਕਦੇ ਡਾਇਵਰਸਿਟੀ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਕਦੇ ਮਲਟੀਕਲਚਰ ਦੇ ਖਿਲਾਫ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਵਿਰੋਧੀ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਟੋਰੀ ਪਾਰਟੀ 'ਤੇ ਬਲੇਮ ਕੀਤਾ। ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਵੀ 400 ਬੰਦਾ ਰੋਜ਼ ਆ ਰਿਹਾ, ਉਹ ਬੰਦੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ 40 ਆ ਰਹੇ ਵੱਧ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਧ। ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਕਰੂਟਨਾਈਜ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਫਿਰ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਥੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਰੱਖਦੇ। ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਦੱਸੀਆਂ ਨੇ। ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਸੀ ਵੀ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ 6-7 ਸਾਲ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਇੰਤਜ਼ਾਰ ਕਰਦਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ, ਕੀ ਇਸ ਨਵੇਂ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਲਈ ਕੋਈ ਰਾਹਤ ਹੋਏਗੀ? ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਵੀ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਨੰਬਰ ਵੱਧ ਗਿਆ, 20,000 ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਹੁਣ, ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪਹਿਲੇ ਬੈਕਲੌਗ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ 20,000 ਨਿਕਲ ਜਾਇਆ ਕਰਨਾ, ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਨੰਬਰ ਅੱਗੇ ਆ ਜਾਏਗਾ। ਵਰਨਾ 6-7 ਸਾਲ ਇੰਤਜ਼ਾਰ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਲਿਆਂ ਲਈ ਕੋਈ ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਕਿਊ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਾਰ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ। ਇਸ ਕਿਸਮ ਦੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੋਈਆਂ ਨੇ ਅਤੇ ਪਾਲਿਸੀ ਚੇਂਜ ਬਾਰੇ ਉਹ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਸਨ। ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੋ, ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੁਝ ਹਿੰਸਕ ਘਟਨਾਵਾਂ ਹੋਈਆਂ ਵਿਦਿਆਰਥੀਆਂ ਬਾਰੇ। ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ, ਮੈਂ ਸੁਣੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਹੋਈਆਂ ਨੇ, ਪਰ ਜਿੰਨੀ ਦੇਰ ਤੱਕ ਇਹ ਸਾਬਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਇੱਥੇ ਪੱਕੇ ਤੌਰ 'ਤੇ ਰਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨਾਲੋਂ ਜਾਂ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਦੇ ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨਾਲੋਂ ਵਿਦਿਆਰਥੀ ਵੱਧ ਕ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਉਨੀ ਦੇਰ ਤੱਕ ਮੈਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ 'ਤੇ ਕੋਈ ਐਕਸ਼ਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੈਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ। ਹਰਜਿੰਦਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਥਿੰਦ ਨੂੰ ਇਜਾਜ਼ਤ ਦਿਓ। ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਰੱਬ ਰਾਖਾ।